Quite tempting, the offer Sir gave me. Oh, I remember that character. Yeah, that was a fun one. Huh? Oh, hey! Hey, everybody. Sorry. My deepest apologies. Like the Harley Quinn Japanese shirt, prepared it just for this video. So, I want to say hi to this is actually an empty notebook that we're going to be using for this video. I want to say hi to everybody. Welcome back. This is Saki Nakaido, Stuff of Funny Lent to Anime 2024 here. If you're new, feel free to subscribe as I'm going for a very high goal. And hit the bell notification so you're notified for more content on the channel without looking. And, I don't know, feel free to drop a like. But for everybody who has been on the channel, welcome. Welcome all. My Harley Quinn shirt. So, as the title of this video implies, we will be looking at, because I wanted to do this, alright? I'm sorry, I'm explaining too much in one go. So, I had 2 Mountain Dew Baja Blasts, full of energy now, unlike the, what is it called? Unlike the Code Veronica, stream that I did a few hours ago. So I looked before I did the Tokyo Ghoul RE, tier list. I figured I'd get this one out the way because I don't know if my dad wants to do the Tokyo Ghoul RE tier list with me. And if so, that's cool, but if he changes his mind, I'll just do it by myself. So, like we're getting back on track. As the title implies, we are making a homemade tier list of Metamorphosis 1 and Metamorphosis 2, the next chapter. For characters! Yay! Characters, great. We'll be looking at these characters through, their background and stuff like that. The first thing we're going to get out of the way is the protagonists. Hold on. Sorry, I had to go off camera for a few minutes and do something. Something I forgot to do. Right, so, like I said, I looked on the Google browser, and in the tier list maker, I couldn't find anything for Metamorphosis. So you know what? Since the tier list thing is a new thing on the channel, let's get straight into it. So, obviously we're going to be talking about the protagonists first. And it's going to be fun. We will be talking about a lot of other things, such as Hayato and maybe other people like Saki's classmates. So, as usual, we have our S through F tier. Okay? And I think that's cool. I think that's really, really cool. Because I haven't seen anyone who has done this before. So, I don't know, maybe I'm the first one that is doing a Metamorphosis tier list. I really don't know. And if I'm not, that's great. Now, we do have a few things to go over. Like, how big is the tier list going to be, stuff like that. And because I'm new to the whole tier list thing, we'll go ahead and ranking them very respectively. And I should have made this tier list off camera. I really should have. Hey, but that's okay. Now, when I say that this tier list has every letter in it, I pretty much mean it. But this tier list is going S, A, B, C, F. Or maybe we'll have a D category. But honestly, I'm thinking of putting out the D category. Ugh. Now, if you're wondering, which I'm pretty sure you're not wondering this, did you bring your copy of Metamorphosis upstairs with you? And did you bring the poster you made for the sequel? No, I did not. They are in my bag, as they should be. And really, that's all there is to say about it. Okay. Bunch of BS about me talking. Well, it's not BS actually, it's just boring. I don't know if you guys skipped ahead or anything because I finished making the tier list. Okay, that said, with our little pencil, very, very little pencil, we can finally start. 6 minutes and 35 in. God. That's a bit. I'll just leave it at that. So, let's start with Saki Yoshida. Alright? The first protagonist in the Metamorphosis series, thanks to people who voted on Metamorphosis 2 being a thing, and stuff like that. Okay, anyways. Saki Yoshida from Metamorphosis 1 by Shindo L. Like I said, mine is a continuation to his work. Except it's just a horror story and it follows the story pretty good. Anyways. Saki Yoshida was your average, middle schooler who has graduated and went into high school. She was a person that really befriended herself. And she only wanted friends in her life. She knows that she messed up. And because of the trauma that she goes through in Metamorphosis 1, which, by the way, Captain Mackie took it a bit too far. Maybe I can do a reaction video to that later. I really don't know. I don't do much reaction videos. He burned his copy, but I don't. I find Metamorphosis to be an interesting story because it focuses on what could happen in life that has very bad effects to it. Hence is why I think the butterflies on the cover for Saki is the butterfly effect. I don't think it's meant to say anything about the tattoo that she gets. Anyways, yeah, she's just your average girl that really didn't want to do any of this, but got so addicted that it was the cost of her life. And because we went with the Reborn ending, which I count as the canon ending, and it makes way more sense, we're putting Saki Yoshida in S tier. 1 second. As you can see, from Metamorphosis 1 and 2 tier list, Saki Yoshida was the first one to be put in the S tier. Moving on to a few other characters. Let's be going with it. Let's go. I'm pretty sure a bunch of you are glad that I put her in S tier. Because I know I am. Now, the scum of the world. We're still going to focus on Metamorphosis 1 for a few minutes. The scum of the world that puts Saki through just too much. We're gonna rank her classmates and we're gonna rank them fairly, okay? When I read Metamorphosis 1 and go back and watch or reread Metamorphosis 2, but mostly just Metamorphosis 1, I look back on these characters. And, you know, if Captain Mackey said in his thing about when he was doing it, like the ranking of Magic the Gathering, which I've never played, but I heard is a very good card game, um, he does have a few funny moments in his video, but he does prove a point. He says, we're going to refer to them as scum. And who are these scums, you might ask, that got her started on this? It was her classmates, man. If it was not for Saki Yoshida's classmates doing this, she would still be normal. But she does tragically die at the age of 17 and is reborn in a different life, apparently. I don't know. Anyways, Saki Yoshida's classmates. Where am I going to rank them? Oh, I know. How about F tier for you? I made a squeaking sound to make it bleep out. Yeah. They're going in the, You know what? That's a great idea. I'm going to put the F tier as FU. Yeah. Alright. See you in a few minutes, because that's where Saki's classmates are going. And you know what? This is a spoiler, so you might want to click off if you haven't seen Metamorphosis 2, the next chapter. There will be a bunch of spoilers in here for it to make you reconsider about watching it. So this is your time to skedaddle, get out here if you haven't seen it already. That being said, here comes a spoiler for Metamorphosis 2, the next chapter, or as I like to call it, M2TNC. Metamorphosis 2, the next chapter, has Hayato and Saki's classmates, but I'm going to be highlighting them in yellow. You know why? Because one of the protagonists in Metamorphosis 2, the next chapter, kills Hayato, kills a bunch of police guards, and kills Saki's classmates, Mr. and Mrs. Yoshida as well. So, you know what? We're going to rank them fairly, because this connects straight into Metamorphosis 2. So, let's be off and put them in the FU tier. That's right, I actually did highlight their names in yellow. Hayato, Saki's classmates, Mr. and Mrs. Yoshida, they're all dead, and I wasn't joking. I did put the U there. Because that's what the F tier is going to stand for in this one. But what about A, B, and C? We haven't talked about them yet, so let's get on to it. What about the A tier and the B and C tier? Well, to be honest with all of you, I don't know what to say. I don't even know if any characters are going to make it into A, B, or C. However, we haven't talked much about Metamorphosis 2 yet, and what the characters go through in that one. Saki Yoshida's spirit and Hana-chan is inside of Metamorphosis 2, just in a different life, as we went with the Reborn ending because it made more sense. So, I mean, I guess we can get on to Metamorphosis 2 now. Let's get the protagonists out of the way. This time you have two protagonists. You have a male and female character. They're related. This is the characters of the protagonists of Metamorphosis 2, the next chapter, is Jay, or Jason, and Nikki. So, I know many people want me to do a AMV of Metamorphosis 2, the next chapter, and I will, eventually. But it's probably going to be for Nikki, and Jason would probably get... Like, I don't know what kind of AMV he would get. He's just a character that is meant for plot points. So, even though Hayato has a few screen times on, like, a few minutes of screen time, of screen time inside of Metamorphosis 2, the next chapter. He does die, which I think a bunch of people are actually glad about that. And you never know when the plot points of the, what's it called? Like a build-up for characters. Or a foreshadowing. There was no foreshadowing for Hayato's death until Nikki gets all psychological and just tells him that she killed everyone in the police station, and basically gave him an evil crooked smile and said that you're next. And Hayato, this is when I showed that he could have fear, because he does. This Hayato, we don't care about him, so he dies by getting stabbed in the neck. And apparently Nikki is unhappy about this because she's going through a metamorphosis. The main character, Nikki, the female protagonist, because like I said, there's two, Jay or Jason almost goes through a metamorphosis, but he commits not alive by slicing off one of his fingers to make sure if it's reality, because he's hearing Saki and Hana-chan. Now, Jason is kind of like Hayato, but he's not. Again, he's Niki's brother, right? She is all that he has. But it's mostly Jay's fault for Nikki going down this path of evil and madness and destruction. So let's get Jay out of the way first. He's probably the worst protagonist in Metamorphosis 2, the next chapter. So Jay, like I said, he does have a few screen time. He thinks that what Nikki is doing is wrong, and he's not entirely wrong about that. Nikki does do a lot of wrong things. When she says, I want to go see Hayato to kill him, Mr. Yoshida and Saki's classmates, he's like, no, don't do that. But Nikki does not listen. This leads Jay to being confused about what she does, and this goes down a dark path. Hell, I would say that it's darker than Metamorphosis 1, I really do, because it is darker than that. Metamorphosis is known to be a horror story in general, and disturbing as all hell. And it is. It really is. Especially 2, which there was a lead up to for a third one, but I don't know if all of you want that. So, yeah, Jay just sees his sister differently. He expects her to be at their mom's funeral because he was trying to call her, seeing where she was, and she didn't answer. This leads us to thinking that, because I don't explain this, but I pretty much say what kind of would go on. Maybe she lost her phone when she got sad and ran away to the underground subway. I don't know. But she didn't pick up in like half a night. And that's saying something. That's when she truly does go through a metamorphosis. Because Jay does actually punch Nikki in the face for not being at his side when his mom died, or their mom died, basically. So, I don't know. Jay thought he was doing the right thing, and he was trying to. But this led Nikki down a path of not even a reborn life. Jay does get a reborn life with Saki and Hana, or Hannah as it's called, is Saki's daughter. This is brutal of what I'm about to say, and we're going to rank Jay's character fairly. Like I said, he's kind of a villain, he's kind of not. The true villain of the story and the true monster of Metamorphosis 2 is to thinking that you push someone so far that they do psychological stuff. The true monster is Nikki. That's obvious. She is like the main protagonist. She thought she was doing everything right in leading in Saki's shoes when really she wasn't. Did I mention that Jay actually, like, when I said that he punched her, he does, but he throws her camera out of the hospital window and leaves, but as soon as he leaves, Nikki laughs with madness in her soul. Darkness. There's nothing that can save her now, right? That's what we're all thinking, and that's what happens. Nothing can save her. Sadly. But not only does he beat her up, he beats her up more when I think it goes along like she insults him and he throws her down into a sewer drain or a sewer gutter, and that's when she truly goes through a metamorphosis, as she was already leading down that path. The definition of metamorphosis is to change, what could happen to you. So, yeah, Jay taking his own life and brutally cutting out his eyes to not see anything while he's just hanging there from a red jumping rope on his ceiling fan with just one finger missing. I don't even say which hand it's off of. It's meant to be a disturbing scene, and if you think about it, if you can see this inside your head, it is. It is very disturbing, as he has a smile on his face when he dies. Now, his body does get taken, and Nikki is glad that he dies. But he does lead a good life, and he is a tragic character. They're both tragic characters. But not only does he get the sight to see back in one of his fingers, he also gets to live a happy life with Saki and Hana-chan. Basically, again, Saki's daughter. Because I guess the spirit of Saki was just trying to tell him not to do these things, not to go too far. And as soon as he does get into the park where they last left off in their reborn life, she greets him, they both do, and asks if they look alike. So he says, yeah, you kind of do. But then the sad part comes to where he's actually dead. So, what are we going to rate Jason's character? Is he going to be an A tier, B tier, a C tier, or an S tier? I'm going to say this. Jason is going to be an S tier character. No questions about it. And then we'll move on to Nikki's character. See if she gets an A, B, or C. I don't know. Alright, see. Jay, or aka Jason, he's in the S tier for good reasons. Let's talk about a character that only gets a few minutes of screen time at Nikki and Jason's mother's funeral. He wasn't described as basically a plot character, but I guess you could see it like that. See, right after this character named Sam, who came out of nowhere, there were only 3 people at the funeral. Jason, Nikki, and Sam. Sam was a last-minute character. When Jason threw Nikki into the sewer, he got beat up by his best friend Sam. But this led Jason to his death because he did kill Sam. He killed his best friend. And, I mean, Sam was doing the right thing. You just threw your sister down a sewer gutter, man? Like, come on. You get insulted, you could just easily brush it off. But that's not how the world works now, does it? Metamorphosis is known for the world not working in certain ways that we want it to. So, Sam, how he died was that Jason, since you're outside at a funeral, why don't you just pick up a stick, Jason, and oh wait, Sam gets it through his neck and dies. Sam dies. No few minutes to know his character of screen time. Nothing like that. He was trying to be a hero, but Sam, kind of a dead weight character, man. I mean, you do not have a story. You're just his friend who went to your mom's funeral. I get that. That's what friends are for. They're there to support you. But that's not how Jason saw it. See, Jason did do a wrong thing by throwing his sister down to the ground and beating her up and just throwing her down a sewer gutter. Ugh. Which apparently she was stuck down there for a long time, but we'll get to that when we get to her character. Sam is going in C tier because he wasn't really a character. He was just a plot point for Jason's death. Yeah. Sorry, Sam. You really did not have too much of a character. You were a last-minute option, my guy, and you died. You died terribly. Yeah, Sam, you're going in C tier, and you're also getting highlighted. Okay, so Sam, with a question mark, he's in C tier. Like I said, not much of a character, just a plot point for Jay's death. Let's move on to Nikki now, shall we? Oh, Nikki Jabane. I just remembered their last name, Jabane. I don't really remember how to spell that, but that's just their last name. So, we obviously know where we put up to date thus far in the FU category for characters who are dead. Hold on. Oh my god. I drank 2 Mountain Dews of Baja Blast. You can't blame me. I'm sorry. Excuse me. In the FU category for a list update of this tier list, we have Hayato, who is dead. Saki's classmates are dead. Mr. Yoshida and Mrs. Yoshida are dead, thanks to Nikki killing them, slaughtering them. And Sam is in C tier. B and A tier are still empty. In S tier, we have Saki Yoshida. And we have J, aka Jason Jabane. And now we move on to Nikki Jabane. See, how the hell do I explain... Hold up. That's better. How do I explain Nikki Jabane? Anything, Harley Quinn? Nah, she doesn't even have the answers, guys. Nikki Jabane, the main character, kind of Metamorphosis to the next chapter. She is the one who does go through Metamorphosis. She is the one who killed people. She is the one who messed up her life, basically. She does wrong things, okay? She does terrible things. Like, I'll say this. If you didn't pick up on this in Metamorphosis 2, the next chapter, if you didn't pick up on this, Jay actually thought she was joking around. Like, when she said that she was going to see Hayato to kill him and kill Mrs. and Mr. Yoshida and her classmates, etc. Nikki was doing this for the thought of Saki because she was disgusted by this. She was outraged of this. Nikki went too far after the police told both Jay and Nikki what happened. Now, Jay actually has a worse death than Nikki. As we know in Metamorphosis, the main characters don't live, even if we want them to. It's just not how the world works sometimes. You gotta know that the Grim Reaper is on your door one way or another, and you might just push yourself to go to death's door, or in all of damnation. Right, Nikki. We know her story thus far. We know who she is. So, you're probably wondering, Jhon Pullman, or aka Gabe, how does she die if I want spoilers? Again, this is a spoiler warning for her character. Go watch it if you have not. And then come back to this. Right, how the hell do I explain her character thus far? We know she's a murderer. That's the metamorphosis she goes through. Destruction, trauma, madness, killing spree psychopath. Would you believe me if I told you that she beats Kira, aka Light Yagami, who we all knew was a victim to the Death Note in general? It wasn't his fault that he became Kira. Or then again, he had the curiosity to go pick up the Death Note, so I guess it was! Right, just like Light, she dies, but this is not Death Note. This is Metamorphosis, right? Or known as Emergence, or 177013, pretty much. Why is it in code, man? I don't understand these things. Right, either way you look at it, it's Metamorphosis, okay? Metamorphosis is also known for its sadness, and again, horror, traumatization, disturbance, and death. Those are the 5 things you have in this storyline. And you gotta think about that. That's dark. Right, so I basically said everything about Nikki thus far, other than that when she goes through this change and gets thrown down the sewers, Jay doesn't even go to look for her anymore. He's just saying, you know, you're my sister, but you've turned into a monster, so screw you, I'm gonna leave. And, well, yeah, we know what happens to Jay. Nikki is pushed to the point of no return. She is pushed to this point because of Jay and many other things that has happened to her. I mean, Jay was even saying that you think Saki would want this, and we clearly know that she's trying to do right, but she's too far gone by this point. She's a psychopathic monster. Okay. Nikki, when she gets thrown down the sewers, alright? This is probably the most disgusting part that you'll ever see in Metamorphosis 2. Let me break it down for you as a viewer discretion advice thing for disturbance, disgusting, and just ugh. Nikki is a traumatization of a character, right? She does wrong things. I mean, we all do wrong things in our own life, you know? We can make up for it, but not her. No, she cannot. See, Nikki Jabane, when she gets thrown down the sewers, not only does she smell like the S word, and obviously she's walking through a bunch of sewage, which is disgusting, but the most disturbing part about this, when she, in the chapter, is called Metamorphosis, or as I called it, Phase in Metamorphosis 2. In this chapter phase of Metamorphosis, known as the chapter Metamorphosis name, damn, how much can you guys say that? She doesn't also express how far she's lost it. She explains that she's out of fingernails to eat, and that she wants to eat her toenails, or anything that's in the sewers. But when she finds the way out, not only has she lost it and completely went through Metamorphosis change, right? Still follow me? Good. Not only does that happen, but when she sees that her brother is dead, she doesn't even care. And a bunch of people are surrounded by the house, or around the house anyway. And there was an assassin after her because she was the top killer of the town. Now note this, as we're very far into the video right now, Nikki and everything all takes place in the same town that Saki lived at. Okay? It has to make sense. We'll get to the assassin in a minute, and this is probably what could lead to Metamorphosis 3. Oh god, if you guys want that, I'll make it, but you're asking for a lot. But hey, I'll make it. Okay, so Nikki gets shot in her kneecap. I can't remember if it's her left or right one. Doesn't matter. So not only does the assassin follow Nikki to her death, and she gets no reborn life, so yeah. Not only does she follow her to her death, but she ends up getting cornered. And because her leg gives out, all she can do is limp. But you know where she limps to? The place that Saki died. And I explained that she falls on the broken glass of the mirrors, cutting her. And she leans against a wall. But this assassin only wanted to kill her, not because she was a murderer, but because she wanted money for killing Nikki. This explains that Nikki had a bounty on her head for a lot of yen, as it's called in Japan. But I'd like to refer to as money, as it is the same thing. So, she gets shot the hell up. Like, I'm not talking about drugs, okay? There was no drugs in this one. I'm talking bullet caps from a 1911mm handgun pistol. Imagine if you're Nikki, and this is just this. Okay, no. Imagine if you're the assassination and I'm Nikki, right? I have nowhere to go. So, I'm begging for my life as I'm coming out of my metamorphosis, but we all know that's impossible. You guys pull the trigger, bang! She falls down dead, face up, on the ground of the bathroom, the public bathroom where Saki died. I think it was a public bathroom anyway, or it might have been a locker room, I don't know. But many people said it's a public bathroom, so that's what we're going to go with. So yeah, she dies in the same place that Saki dies in, but she gets shot in the head. And I think she gets shot in the shoulder too, and then the head. Either way, Nikki, her soul basically, I guess, lives in hell now for the things that she's done. There is no coming back from that. If she listened to Jason, maybe she should have came back, or maybe she could come back from this. But because she turned into a villain of her metamorphosis, and she is a traumatization, a very tragic character, we're gonna put Nikki Jibane in A tier, even though she is like the most biggest plot twist of metamorphosis in general. There is a lesson in these stories, everybody, and if you don't see them, I don't know what to tell you. Nikki Jibane is going inside of A tier, and she is the only A tier character until I explain the assassin and what might lead to Metamorphosis 3. The trauma chapter, maybe. Also, I did not highlight her name because, yeah, she didn't need to be highlighted. She didn't need to be highlighted at all because, well, she's tragic. Now let's talk about the character that might lead to a third Metamorphosis story, if you guys even want a third one. Okay, listen. For people who might get mad at me if you liked, Saki's first clients, as we can call them, I'm not putting them on the tier list. I'm not even putting Obita on the tier list. Why? They were pointless characters, in my opinion. All Obita was Hayato's drug dealer in the first one. And he owed a big debt. And, yeah. The other clients for Saki, yeah. I don't know, dude. I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay, we have one more character that is going to finish up this list. We're still in Metamorphosis 2, by the way, because we're pretty much done with Metamorphosis 1. There was not much to say about Metamorphosis 1. I mean, most of the characters from M1, basically, died in M2. Right, Metamorphosis 2. Her name is Jane, and she really doesn't have much screen time other than she kills Nikki in cold blood. Now, this could lead to a third one. It really could. Do I want it to? If I'm being honest, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to. But if everyone can comment if you want a third one, then sure. This is easy. Jane is obviously another character that could be a protagonist, a plot twist, for a third story. That being said, Jane is going into C tier. Be right back. And she's getting highlighted, by the way. And there you go. Jane the Assassin is in C tier. Nobody made it into B tier. Now let's talk over this tier list for a minute, and then I'll just end this video. I don't know. So, let's go over the tier list yet again. Metamorphosis 1 and 2 tier list. Okay, we have our characters. Like I said, I'm not including Obita at all because he just disappears in the first one near the end. We have Saki Yoshida and Jay, aka Jason. Oh, wait. I forgot. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. We have to include Hana-chan. We have to. She's an S tier character and she basically does die too. So, be right back. There we go. Now the tier list is finished. Let's talk about it now. Okay. Alright. So, in S tier, let's recap. In case all of you want a third story. Let's recap. Metamorphosis 1 and 2 tier list. S tier, we have Saki Yoshida, Hana-chan, Jay, aka Jason Jabane. In A tier, we have Nikki Jabane. In B tier, we have no one. In C tier, we have Sam, Jane the Assassin. And in the FU tier, we have Hayato, Saki's classmates, Mr. and Mrs. Yoshida. That is the complete tier list of these stories. Now, if you agree with me, then that's great by the time this video comes out, because it's so long. I don't know when it will come out. All I know is that it will be there at some point. But if you agree with this list and you thought it was cool, nice. Like I said, the next tier list I'll be doing are probably some Resident Evil ones, and maybe, well, actually it's guaranteed, of Tokyo Ghoul RE. But yeah, since there was no such thing of tier lists for Metamorphosis, I made my own tier list. And if anyone agrees with this, thank you. As that being said, everybody, this has been Saki and Akaido Stuff of Funny Lent to Anime 2024 here. And I'll see all of you in the next one. Remember, stay safe out there. Peace out. Bye-bye. And real quick, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, hitting the bell notification, maybe putting a like on the video. I'll see all of you in the next one. Peace out. Bye-bye.